morning, this is Bob Mason from FX Empire and welcome to the daily crypto tech review of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin and Ripple's XRP. We're looking at the MACDs, the moving averages and the day's support, resistance and pivot levels. It is Friday the 25th of December. Jumping straight into Bitcoin against the US dollar and the hourly candlesticks. Bearish start to the morning here. Going to need to see Bitcoin avoid the pivot at 23,412. Let's take a run at the first major resistance level today at 24,122. Going to need to see support from the broader market for Bitcoin to break out and back through to 24,000 levels, however. So barring an extended crypto rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level to cap any upside. In the event of an extended rally, expect resistance at 24,500 to pin Bitcoin back. Second major resistance level sits at 24,501. Fall through the pivot would bring the first major support levels in at 23,033 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Bitcoin should avoid sub 23,000 levels. Second major support level sits at 22,323. Looking at the MACD, slight narrowing of the bullish histograms, but nothing suggestive of a bearish morning ahead, so keep an eye on that. On the EMA, we're also seeing the 50 pull away marginally from the 100 and the 200, suggestive of some further upside ahead. So keep through the early part of the day, avoid the pivot at 23,412. Break out from yesterday's high 23,790 to bring resistance levels into play. Moving across to Ethereum against the US dollar, also bearish this morning. Good and easy Ethereum avoid the pivots 597.62 to take around the first major resistance level sitting at 629.64. Good and easy support from the broader market for Ethereum to break back through to 620 levels. So barring an extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level and resistance at 630 to pin Ethereum back. In the event of an extended rally, should see Ethereum test resistance at 640 before any pullback. Second major resistance level is at 647. Fall through the pivot would bring the first major support level sitting at 580.26 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Ethereum should avoid sub 580s. Second major support level sits at 548.24. Looking at the MACD, slight narrowing of the bullish histogram. Also not indicative of a bearish day ahead, however. On the EMA, we're seeing the 50 close in on the 100 and the 200, suggestive of some further upside ahead. So keep through the early part of the day, avoid the pivot at 597.62, break through to 620s to bring resistance levels into play. Failure to do that and support levels will be in play. Moving across to Litecoin against the US dollar, also bearish this morning. Going to need to see Litecoin avoid the pivot at 107.39. to take a run at the first major resistance level at 116.11. Going to need to see support from the broader market for Litecoin to break out from this morning's high that was at 112.67. So barring an extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level to cap any upside. In the event of breakout, Litecoin should test resistance at 120 before any pullback. Second major resistance level sits at 121.01. A fall through the pivot would bring the first major support level at 102.49. and the 23.6% fib at 101 into play. Barring an extended sell-off through the day, Litecoin should avoid the second major support level sitting at 93.77. Looking at the MACD, slight narrowing of the bullish histograms, but nothing suggestive of a bearish morning ahead, so keep an eye on that. On the EMAs, we're seeing the 50 close in on the 100 and pull away from the 200, suggestive of a further upside ahead, so keep through the early part of the day, avoid the pivot. Break out from the morning high 112.67 to then bring resistance levels into play. Failure to do that and expect support levels to come into play. Moving across to Ripple's XRP against the US dollar. Choppy start to the morning here. Going to need to see Ripple's XRP avoid a fallback through the 23.6% fib and the pivot level at 0.3193 to take a run at the first major resistance level at 0.3985. Barring an extended crypto rally on the day, however, expect yesterday's high at 0.38 to limit any upside. In the event of a breakout, that first major resistance level and the 38.2% fib sitting at 0.4243 should limit any upside. Second major resistance level sits at 0.4592. A fallback through the 23.6% fib and through the pivot at 0.3193 would bring the first major support level at 0.2586 into play. Barring another extended sell-off, Ripple's XRP should avoid sub 0.20 levels. Second major support level sits at 0.1794. Looking at the MACD, got a widening of the bullish histogram supporting the early morning upside. On the EMAs, also seeing the 50 narrow marginally on the 100 and the 200 supportive of the early move north. So key through the early part of the day would be to avoid a fall through the 23.6% fib at 0.3386 and the pivot at 0.3193 and break out from yesterday's high 0.38 to bring resistance levels into play. Better to do that and support levels will be in play.